What up, everybody? Ghost Season 3, Episode 9. Tommy made his return to New York after Kate received a letter from Diana Tejada posing as Monet with Tasha's Witsec address on it. At this point, Tommy returned to New York to retrieve the letter. The Power Book 2 timeline is a little bit ahead of Force, even though we don't know for sure by how much, because the Power timelines have always been janky, for lack of better words. And that's an important detail because on Ghost's timeline, Kate has returned to New York. But the last time we saw Kate on Force, she had moved to Chicago to be around her son and grandson, and had just relapsed on a bag of coke that Tommy gave her and ended up in the hospital. So within the time gap between Ghost and Force, Kate had moved back to New York. And when Tariq went to Kate's house looking for Tommy, there was moving boxes everywhere from a moving company called Brothers Moving. And it also looks like Kate has moved into a different house than the house that she was living in during Power, because the front of the house was different in Book 2 than when they showed the front of her house in Power. And the inside of the house looks different as well. And a lot of people have said those boxes were there because she was moving to Chicago. But like I said, the Force timeline is behind Book 2. So it looks like this happens soon after she returns back to New York from Chicago. But after Tariq showed up at Kate's house looking for Tommy, thinking he did something to Tasha, Tommy found Tariq and told Tariq to follow him. This was the next day after everything had went down. So the big question is, what was Tommy doing in New York for all that time, instead of just going back to Chicago after his business with Tasha was resolved? This is why most of us want to see this trip back to New York from Tommy's perspective during Force Season 2, and I still hope we get to see it in Season 3. So then Tommy and Tariq had a face-to-face where Tommy told Tariq everything that happened. But notice what car Tariq was driving around in when he met up with Tommy. It wasn't his Porsche, it was 2Bit's Hoopty. And Tommy had done business with 2Bit for a while. So because of that, Tommy noticed that Tariq was driving around in 2Bit's car. Then after that, I think Tommy went looking for 2Bit once he got done meeting up with Tariq. Or this could have possibly been something Tommy was doing in between hashing things out with Tasha and meeting up with Tariq. But either way, at one point, I think that Tommy met up with 2Bit. And once he met up with Tariq and saw him driving 2Bit's car, he figured out that 2Bit jacked Tariq for his car. And Tommy isn't going to let anybody punk his nephew like that. Then force 2Bit to give Tariq back his Porsche. Because in the Season 4 trailer, we see that Tariq does get his Porsche back. So unless he goes and kills 2Bit for his car, then most likely 2Bit has hooked back up with Tommy, and Tommy forced him to give Tariq his car back. And also, I think there's a good chance that we could see 2Bit on Force Season 3, because near the end of Season 2, showrunner Gary Lennon did an interview when he said that stars kept asking him about bringing back a Power character on Force. And his reply was, if given a Season 3, then he would bring this character back into the storyline, even though he didn't give us a name of who this character is. And in my mind, I'm thinking that he has to be talking about either Ghost, 2Bit, or Blanca. Ghost or 2Bit would be a fire addition to the show. And obviously, if it is in fact Ghost, it's going to break the internet. Ratings are going to go through the roof and all that. But there's also a chance that it could be both or all three of these characters moving to Force, especially after the cancellation of Book 2. Either though I definitely think that there will be another book that comes after. Not talking about Origins either. I'm talking about a book that is the continuation of the Book 2 story. But in regards to 2Bit and Tariq's Porsche, I don't know if Tommy's just going to have to make 2Bit give it back to Tariq by using Force or anything like that. I think that he'll actually give 2Bit an incentive to give it back by offering 2Bit an opportunity to work with him again. Either at the same time, 2Bit knows Tommy isn't to be played with, and if Tommy tells him to give his nephew his car back, he should probably do it. But 2Bit could also be the link to connecting the two shows, Force and Ghost. I mentioned in another video a few days ago, now that Tariq is at war with Noma, he no longer has a plug. But at the same time, in Chicago, Tommy is working his way up the food chain and is now connected directly with Che from the Estrada cartel. So to me, it sounds like it makes sense for the two to hook up and do business. They have no reason not to. The whole reason they didn't talk business when they met up before is because Tariq already had Noma as his plug and only needed Tommy to have his back in a war. So if Tariq and Tommy hook up and do business, Two-Bit could be the middleman who runs the shipments and the money from New York and Chicago. Pretty much doing what he was doing before in New York for Tommy and Dre, but now doing it from state to state. And I did see an update via X the other day from Joseph Sikora as a fan asked him when season 3 will be released. And he said they just got done filming episode 7. And that was about a week ago. So right now they're most likely still on episode 8. From the sound of things, Force won't air in the summer during the break between part 1 and part 2 of the final season of Ghost. But we should definitely expect it around October or November whenever part 2 of Ghost wraps up. And one clue I've already seen from season 3 is a picture, I think it's from episode 1, with Tommy, Diamond, Jannard, and Vic, and some others were all dressed up in military gear, looking like they were about to go to war. It got the scene with Tariq and Braden from the Ghost Season 4 trailer looking like amateur hour. And this will most likely be Tommy manipulating CBI to go to war with Miguel and the Insane Prince gang after Miguel disappeared his sister Mireya at the end of Season 2 when he found out that she was in a relationship with Tommy. The craziest thing about this picture is that Tommy is actually going to be going to war with Jannard and Vic. At the end of Season 2, it was Jannard who sent the picture of Mireya and Tommy kissing to Miguel in the first place. So no matter what excuse Tommy's going to use to initiate this war, one person who will know his real motive is Jannard. But Jannard won't be able to lead on about knowing anything either without tipping off Tommy, who sent the picture to Miguel in the first place. And Vic Flynn is also in this picture, who Tommy already made as a rat. But instead of killing him, Tommy told Diamond that it would be more useful to have an inside man with the FBI. And this caused Diamond to get pissed off at Tommy, questioning him, saying that Tommy was out there making solo moves. So these four going to war with each other should be very interesting to see how it plays out. And if in fact Tommy is initiating a war with Miguel, what impact will this have with Che? Because he has already said he doesn't want a war and made Tommy and Miguel shake hands and agree to peace. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.